I have seen. But we'll give you some time, man. We know you all know. I'm on the road. Thank you. I'm sorry. All right, it's 7:00, so we can start. Doesn't say it will be shortly, man. I'm on the road, but I'm out here. I have to tune in. All right, you all think right, man. We get it. You can say, you can say hello to the listeners, man. Let them know that you are a man. That you are a man of many talents. I appreciate that. I'm just trying to, get my life and everything set up in here. I'm in Baltimore, so coming back home tomorrow. I feel like I've been on the road, non-stop. Probably been home for about. Well, you have been on the road non-stop, man, as we get ready to kick off. So that one's about to walk in, man. So we want to give him a few minutes. He just backed into the drive where I can hear him. So tell people where you are, man, Chris? Like I said, I'm in Baltimore. What's that, a lightsaber? You about to start. I'm trying to make it very We're about to start, man. But no, I'm, in Baltimore working. I'm down here almost like my second home now. So the people seeing behind the scenes of above average black men. Pretty much, definitely. Very extreme behind the scenes. Yeah. Yeah. It's must be nice, man. You have been kind of on the road a lot, because we came off vacation, then you had something to do after that, then you went down. So, that's the price of success. Yeah, man. That's the I told myself years ago, man, I want to be able to travel for work and just be on the road. And I'm in the midst of it. So this is what I asked for. This is what I put on this now. Hopefully it continues to grow and expand from here. I'm not going to tell it. I'm just living in it. Well, we're ready to get started. Devin's taking it sound like he got all week. He already late. He got the water. he ain't touring the place. People must be like, yo, what these guys doing, man? But yeah, man, we're here, man. If you just tuned in, man, above average black men. Yeah, just tuned in above average black men. We got, I got kids all over the place, man. So they're just kind of getting settled in. So we're about to jump into this, That's the price of success, though. So, I can't complain, man. I got 3 great kids. Yeah, who knock it out of the box, man. Yeah, man, this is, it's kind of been on my mind a lot lately. It's kind of really been on my mind a lot lately, man. So, the American dream, because you hear so much about it. So, well, we've been live on other stuff, man. I had to catch up, I'm sorry. So, here we go, guys. We about to get this thing started, man. One, two, what do you do? I know we got the thing. We had to cut that short because we about to start rapping. Welcome to another episode of Above Average Black Men. Yours truly, Chris Pender Sr.
Devin Pender here to say like, follow, subscribe, share. Chris is here on Zoom. I don't know if y'all can hear him, but we're waiting for him to say his part.
Thank you, Harry. Chris Jr. here, Above Average Black Men. We're here to empower, inspire, and just uplift the community, as always, with various topics. And I'm excited about today. Very well, again, I feel like for all of us, So, Dan, I don't know if you wanted to kind of open up and get us started here. How do I sound? Yeah, man, we're gonna need that's Roxy hearing your voice. So anyway, yeah, we want to talk about the American dream. Is it obtainable for everybody? And where it came from, because you hear a lot about the American dream. You hear that so much.
You know, the American dream, make America great again. This is what America stands for. Anybody can be anything they want to be. You hear these things all the time. You know, and when I was a kid, I thought it was so real. But as an adult, that's not true. Everybody can't be what they want to be. You know, you can try. But so people kind of get sold a false bill of goods because you're telling these you can be whatever you want to be. But if you're 4'2" and you 120 pounds, you're not playing in the NFL.
But I think a good question or a good place to start is like, what exactly is the American dream? You know, and has that changed over the years? I would say that it has. But like, what initially, like, what would be considered the American dream?
Well, I think is a two. Let me answer your question in two parts. One, I think it has changed. I think it's changed now for the better, because I think now people realize the dream is different for everybody. You know, it's not the same. You know, an American dream back when I was growing up was people talked about having a house in the suburbs, you know, the white picket fence and all the great stuff, and, the trophy wife and, tradition 2-family home and all the great things, the 2.1 kids, the 2.5, 2.5 kids, boy, girl, rich man's family, working this great job, making this a whole lot of money. But now you have entrepreneurship, which is huge now. You have people who choose not to get married now. Who want to just have successful careers. You have two people in a relationship having successful careers. Material things are no longer what everybody's pursuing right now. Some people do, a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. But there's some people who think, the American dream is being able to, take care of themselves comfortably and have peace. So it looks different for everybody.
Chris, so for your demographic, what would be the American dream for you guys?
Good demographic, I like that. I think I kind of grew up on an ideology that kind of dad had kind of placed on me, especially with our grandparents too, spending a lot of time there. I mean, even kind of doing some research, the ideal American dream was just that everyone had equal opportunity to achieve success and like be able to prosper, with just some hard work and motivation. But that drastically has changed, like Daddy said, where today it can look so different, like depending upon what your goals or ambitions are. Like I think for some people, American dream is having a family, having a house, and kind of settling on that. But for some people, it's owning their own business. Making sure that they own or have something they can pass down. I think it looks different a lot today. But I do think at the same time that I don't want to say the American dream is dead, but I think there's some powers that be that won't allow for us to truly grasp what we consider to be the American dream. Like we were talking about ownership and all these different things, but sometimes I feel like there's people who they make it hard. Like you can be an entrepreneur, have a great business, big business is coming down and they're buying the business. You know what I mean? So it's like, what honestly, can we have best cars nowadays?
Well, I mean, even if you step outside that, like I had the kids, this group of kids I'm working with, and last week assignments was I had them write their own obituary. And the reason why I had them write their own obituary was, one, I was curious to see how long they thought they were going to live. Because they were born, they get to decide when they were going to die. And I wanted them to reflect on their life story. And it was ironic because, they were putting down 50 years old, man. They think that's 50. Yeah.
People think that's old
and
now.
One dude put down 105, and that's only because he wanted to get to the point in his life where he can get high as much as he wants and have no responsibility. So I would discount him, but everybody else was like, everybody, but to him, that's his American dream. He wasn't talking about he wanted to be rich. He just, he wanted to get to a point in his life where he could just get high as much as he wanted to. And he was serious, and the poor kid comes to school. I meet with him once a week. He high every week.
Oh my gosh.
But I was looking at the age and everybody else was putting 50 years old. One person did change the range from 50 to 70, but they were like 50 years old is old. And when you were writing the obituary, they weren't writing a lot of things about success. They weren't writing a lot of things about, about the American dream. And it's kind of funny because it's almost like that whole generation, they don't think about the American dream. They think about day by day.
Yeah, it's interesting because growing up, I've heard about the whole, white picket fence, living in the suburbs. Well, we live in the suburbs.
I was going to say, you never
I've heard about a lot of that, but I feel like nowadays, like you said, not like the whole getting high and all that, but just the freedom to do pretty much what you want is kind of like the American dream nowadays. Like being able to travel where you want, having that big loft downtown in the city. I feel like for my age, at least, that's what people were aspiring to obtain. I don't know. Is that different for anybody else?
I think it's people that you take some of those things for granted too. I know Devin, you and I may have had these conversations before where, like, just think about our grandparents and the things that they had to go through. They couldn't even imagine or fathom half the things that we could do. Like, our great grandparents, like, we do have some liberties and freedoms, and we're living somebody. Our grandparents, very honestly, like, they wanted us to have these opportunities to travel and do all these different things. So, I mean, on the other side, I do think we kind of take some of this stuff for granted.
We do. But you mentioned grandparents, and the dream has changed because my father and mother never talked about leaving the city. That was never, once we got older and they retired, then my dad was like, look, hey, he wanted to move down. But growing up, that was never his goal, was to raise his kids in the suburbs. At least I never heard the conversation. We never had that conversation. None of my friends, you ever heard us talking about moving to the suburbs. That wasn't a goal. Some of us, we want to be successful, we want to be homeowners, but we never thought about the possibility of, moving to the burbs. We thought moving to, back then, West Oak Lane was pretty nice and Germantown was pretty nice. That was kind of the goal. I never thought in terms of, my kids, I wanted my kids to go to college, graduate college, I was going to move to the suburbs, raise them. And when I was younger, I never thought about entrepreneurship. So, I think the dream changes with each generation because some things become more obtainable. Some things, become a little more realistic, so to speak. Plus, you expose each generation to more, so they see things. So it opens up the possibility. When you gotta remember when I was growing up, people weren't trying to move downtown. Downtown was a social place. You went to the restaurants, you went to the movie theaters, you went bowling. You went shopping. That's what downtown was. It wasn't a place where it was only where rich people lived. Rich white people lived. That's what downtown was. So that was never an aspiration of a lot of people, but it has shifted. But it takes you back to my next point. Is it really obtainable? Because I work with a lot of various populations, and they don't dream. They don't dream. First of all, my thing yesterday, MLK Day, that was my thing, dare to dream. And what I talked about was, I think that's one of the reasons why, even as a race of people or society, we have taken a step back because we don't dream anymore. We don't think about what can be. We don't visualize what can be. We were talking, Chris, before the show started about all the stuff you're doing now, but how many of your friends talk like that? How many of your friends talk like that? Yeah, this is what's going to happen. No, we don't do that anymore.
And I was wondering, we put ourselves in a box.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, I think we kind of dream to the point of just what's in front of us. A lot of people aren't thinking beyond that and what's going to be obtainable. Even like you kind of mentioned earlier before, like just like everybody can't be a professional athlete. Like they just see parts of it. They don't see all the work that it takes to do those things. I think that's a big part of the dream here too, is that people don't understand the work that goes behind it sometimes.
And it's not just work, but it's who sees you in timing.
Yeah.
There's so many intangible things, but even that aspect, it's like people don't, at least the people I come across, the young people and adults, they don't visualize a brighter future. Some Christians are not going to like the analogy I make right now, but it's almost like we spent so much time telling our kids, don't believe in Santa Claus, don't believe in the Easter Bunny, but we never replaced it. We never said imagine some other things. We never said imagine the possibilities of what could happen or what you could be. We always had those conversations inside our house. We did, but I know a lot of grown people who've never had those conversations. I took we just came off a vacation. That's something I always wanted to be able to do, to take my family on vacation as adults and not have to worry about the finances, just do stuff and just have a good time. I dreamed about that. So that was part of my strategy. Owning my own business was part of my strategy, man. Doing what I'm doing now, your mom and I were talking about last night, that became a part of my strategy and part of my American dream. But people now don't talk about dreaming anymore. People now don't talk about, what they want their relationships to look like, where they see themselves in 5 years. I don't hear those conversations anymore. So I think that kind of did an American dream, because if you're not dreaming, there is no dream.
Why do you think that? Is there any, you see, anything that kind of drastically may have shifted people away from pursuing certain things?
Yeah, I think if you can make people lose hope, you gain control. And hopeless people, they have nothing to lose. If you have nothing to lose, and you have nothing to try. It's like the person that says, well, why am I going to try? Things are never going to get better. Or the person who says, at least I'm not as bad as so and so. Those are built-in excuses. And if you look what has happened to us, each generation, and not just through social media, but through the media in general, you don't see a lot of stuff to be hopeful about. You don't see a lot of images of successful African-American males. You see them going to jail. You see them committing crimes. You see how they treat professional athletes. They just really treat them as entertainers. They'll call them millionaires and they treat them as entertainers. But the minute they talk about something that's relevant, everybody don't want to hear from them. So I think those messages have been passed down stronger and stronger from generation to generation. And the lack of people like us, having a message that's different than that helps create it. It's funny because real quick, I told you, we filmed a session like that. I did a video session shoot at the school.
How'd it go?
Yeah, it went very well. But some of the stuff we talked about was, father, when you hear the word father, we talked about healthy relationships. We talked about a lot of different things. And you can hear in their answers how they don't spend a lot of time thinking about the future. A couple of them said they're going to relationships thinking she gonna cheat. Yeah, they go into relationships like, I'm not going into it, because I'm not going to be. They don't think in terms of I got a shot to have a positive future. I got a shot to have a healthy relationship. They don't think like that.
Yeah, but
That's a sign of the times.
It is, but that's what I mean. But that, and the media perpetuates that strategy or that message. You hear anything you look at on TV, that's what you see. We're being fed a steady diet of negativity. We're being fed a steady diet of what we can't be. Either you're going to be a professional athlete or you're going to be an R&B artist, but there's no in between anymore.
Yeah. And real quick, to your point, like you said, people really don't think about, what could happen in the next 5 years. I think because a lot of things, especially, with technology, everything seems so attainable right now. Or, you could do this in a week, you could blow up and different things like that.
But that's another mirage. It's not real. I mean, how have you, out of billions of people, who does that actually happen to?
I mean, if you look at social media, a lot of people, it seems like, I know what you mean.
But you can blow up on social media and be broke.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How long they could have been putting out content.
It's like when I come across people who I grew up with. And and they don't say anymore, but the favorite saying was, if I had the hand you had. And I might come back to them and say, but you don't know what I had to do to get this hand. You don't know how many cars I had to trade in to get this hand. It's like you talking about, you look at me and you see what you think is success, but you don't ask me about the work that I had to put in. Like people say, yeah, I wake up 4:30 every morning. I was talking to somebody today and they were like, yeah, I get up at 10:30. you know, and they were like, I heard you got your own business. You hiring? Not for somebody getting up at 10:30. And she looked at me, but because that's the day that's the average day for mediocre people start. Either you're a billionaire and you don't have to go anywhere, or you're a mediocre person. The average day for successful people don't start at 10:30. But my point is, but you looking, you want the hand, you want the benefits, but you don't want to put the grind in. I read. I read books. I still read. Because I want to be a consistent learner. I want to be a constant learner. So I do read. This week no TV. I've been reading. I come every day. I put music on. I read. People don't want to make the sacrifice, but they want to be successful.
Yeah,
so I think
that is point too, where he was saying about people who see kind of instant success or what appears like instant success, and they think that it's going to be like that for them. I think another kind of key element to the dream somewhat being big here, or not necessarily attainable for a lot of people, is this conscious effort of like either keeping us apart or people just feel like individuals, like me.
Wow.
And I feel like it's not any way that you could be any type of successful without working with like-minded people or just trying to build with a community or other people.
But so and let me address that, and then I go back to the obtainable portion. But that's the way it's been for African Americans forever. If you go back to slavery, the house Negro, the light-skinned Negro against the field Negro, the dark-skinned Negro. It's traditionally, when we moved out, it was, the professionals versus the non-professionals. You're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you can't associate with the trash man. So there's always been, lines drawn within our community. Then fast forward, then it became gangs. Because you lived on that side of the bridge and I lived on this side of the bridge. Because I was in this zip code, you was in this zip code. It's always been something within our community. Then it became schools. You go to this school, you go to that school. Then it became colors. You can't wear red, you can't wear blue. There's always something, we've been, programmed that way. And then back to the obtainable portion I want to talk about. But is it obtainable? I mean, realistically, right now. If we think about demographics, we think about resources, we think about, education, all the tangible things that go into being, successful, is the so-called American dream still obtainable for everybody?
That's interesting. I think it is. I think nowadays there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of different things you could use to obtain that American dream. But like you said, are people willing to grind and put in that work?
Okay.
I don't, and I'm like on the fence with that, because I'm like, I agree, the opportunities are there. I mean, kind of representing pointed out the verbiage powers that be, or other people that kind of are at point here that don't necessarily want to see us succeed. Like they kind of want to keep us out of certain places. Like for instance, I was in West Palm earlier this year, and just walking down the street, people are looking at you like, "What are you doing here?" They don't even want you in the neighborhood. So it's like they don't even want you to really part of that street.
But like Dad always used to say though, walk in the room like you belong, or walk.
Do that all the time. I sat down in the food restaurant and had people looking at me pizza with my shades on.
But that's not being passed down anymore. That's not. Everybody does not know that. We both know somebody. I'm not gonna say name. That's grown, that's married, who won't go places because a lot of people don't look like him there. And so I'm that.
People like that,
but I think we take for granted things that were passed down. For a long time, I took for granted the life lessons, I got from my dad. Some of them I thought he was just being tough. He was just being mean. He was just being, hard on me. But then as I got out and I got outside my family and my circle began to grow, I was like, nah, these are very important life lessons because I needed them. Because people I saw around me, it wasn't that I was smarter. It wasn't that I was a better athlete. It was that I had those life lessons that I could look at, learn, and grow because my parents wanted to make sure I was better than they were. And I think
it's also like to that same thing of like kind of us, like you talking this, you know, brought in like I'm supposed to be anywhere that I want to be, but then like to the other side of that, again in West Palm, like I had black people that would give me rides from there, and we segregate ourselves. They're like, oh, you don't come over here
Because we taught that.
Mhm.
you don't belong here. Why are we doing this?
Because we're taught that. I know people who give me, but I know people who give me grief because I go on more than one vacation. And I'm like, since when has that become a Caucasian thing?
Right.
You know, why do we got to be the people that got to save up for a whole year just to take one vacation?
That's another question, real quick. How come, you know, when someone doesn't understand, like someone in our community doesn't understand, it automatically has to be a Caucasian thing?
Because it goes back to, is it
We
obtainable?
segregate ourselves and we like just kind of regulate like, no, we can't do that. That's not us.
But it's also easier to justify something that you believe is unobtainable by making excuses and saying, I can't get it, you know, without even trying. It's easier to say, well, you know what, I could never be that. So why am I going to put the effort in? You know, this is my lot in life. This is my station in life. You know, this is what I was, and we say I was destined, you know, or we say things like that because it's easier, because I don't have to work. If I say I can't do this, then I have to put the effort in. You know, it's like if you take two athletes with the same skill level and the same talent, and you take a third athlete that maybe is not as talented, but he works his tail off. He catches those other two athletes eventually. He may not look as pretty getting the job done, but he gets the job done.
It's like Jimmy Butler.
But I think it's the same way in life. You gotta want something so bad, man, that you're willing to do what it takes to get it within reason. You know, and I say that, and you can't have an American dream if you don't dream. You know, and a dream is not just simply, for me, a dream is not just simply about dreaming. It's visualizing what you want to do. It brings what you want to do into 3D. You know, it kind of sharpens your vision. It kind of feeds your appetite, man. You know, I mean, it fuels that appetite. It makes you go. You know, and it helps you. It makes you thirsty because you want it. If you can't see it, you know what I mean? It's just not the same. And I think that's one thing that people have done a good job is taking away our ability to dream, taking away our ability to see, you know, a better tomorrow. It's like when I asked the kids to write an obituary, I'm thinking that's a chance to shine. You know, I mean, most people will want their obituary. You know, you hopefully when you're dead that you want people to say great stuff about you. You know, I got kids saying they want to be known that he was a good trapper. Like what? Yeah, you know, no, but it's sad. But if you don't have hope, if you don't see a future, that's your goal. That's all you think you can obtain in life. Because, yeah, this other stuff is not for me; it's for everybody else.
When do we feel like that?
Well, it's adults who feel like that. There's adults who feel like that. There are women out there.
Did you feel like people were like, "Oh, we can't do that"? That's right.
No, but I had people who made fun of me because I wasn't like that. You know, I had people who you know thought something was wrong with me. But I never forget when my parents put us on a plane and took us to Disney in California, and we came home and somebody was like, "Where you been?" And I said, "Oh man, I was on vacation." Vacation. A lot of people don't go on vacation. Would you go Atlantic City? No, we went to Disney World in California. Man, stop lying. Stop lying. What, you on punishment? Yeah, what, you on punishment? No, they couldn't believe that I went on vacation. I went on a plane. Somebody else had to speak up and say, yeah, he did. And this person was older than me. This wasn't some, who really, was a couple years older than me. So, and this is in all communities, and I'll say our community because we're talking about it, but a lot of times, just because I can't see what you see, I'll convince myself it's not obtainable. I can't see Chris being a writer, so now it's crazy. That's just him talking. I can't see, Devin doing this, that's just him talking. It's like when I started my janitorial company. But when I started my janitorial company with a mop and a bucket out the house, and people were laughing at me. man, all black people want to do is clean, man. You don't really have no business, all this stuff. When that thing got up to 300,000 square feet and I had 27 people working for me, some of them same people, I was signing their paychecks. They weren't laughing. But because they could not see what I saw.
I knew you could do it, man. Like I saw from the beginning.
But so because they don't dream, they don't have a dream, man. People don't talk about successes anymore. People. My whole thing was about dare to dream, because we talked about Martin Luther King's dream, and everybody look at his dream, and they talk about it was for equality and it was for black. His dream was not. His dream had three components, and I think this contributes to having a dream, an American dream, being successful. One, his dream wasn't just about him. It was about another generation. He dreamed one day in America, his kids could play with other kids, white and black. The second thing about, his dream was it involved somebody other than himself. He was like, he wanted all of America to get along. So it wasn't a selfish dream that I just want to live in a house in the burbs and be, And the third thing about it, he was specific in his dream. He didn't say, what if? And I think those are the three key ingredients that we don't have, is not being passed down generation to generation. And I think that's why the American dream is not obtainable for some people.
Yeah. I mean, he also understood the economic side of everything.
Yeah. But
along with having those dreams and that the equal opportunity was like kind of, like we said, this kind of at the top of it, having something that you can own of your own that you can pass down from generation to generation.
But it wasn't just about him. And the point I was making about, the economics, selfish people typically don't experience the American dream. Outside, they may look at it, but, they may have money, but their marriage is screwed up. They may have money in marriage, but their kids are screwed up.
That's another thing, too. Is the American dream just all of these kind of, like, material things?
No, I mean, I think when you're young and you don't have it, is. I think it evolves. When I was young and I was broke, it was about material things, man. I'm being to go get me some Nikes whenever I want to get me some Nikes, man. Different pair, man. I'm gonna have the greatest gear. It was. I'm gonna have this fly wife, man. It was about material things. And then as I got older, it became a little bit of both. You know what? Yeah, I want material things, but I kind of mature, so now I want peace of mind too. And then now I'm at the stage of my life now where it's probably more about peace of mind than it's material things. That helps. I can go get what I want to get too. That kind of helps too. But you mature and you change. I think there's some people who they stay the same. They don't dream, man. It's like if you meet, like I could not see myself dating in this day and age. Because I have friends who I talk to and people who I coach, and I listen to some of the things they say about dating. I don't know how they do it. I could not date somebody who just wants to spend the rest of their life living paycheck to paycheck. I couldn't date somebody who didn't have a dream or a vision about a brighter future. Or their dream was just to get an apartment somewhere outside the hood, and now we got it made. We moving up like the Jeffersons. I couldn't survive in that relationship.
I think part of today is like a lot of the thinking and dreaming. It's all short term. It's like short sight. It's like, all right, I'm dreaming about this trip to Camp Quinn and I can take. Or like I'm dreaming about the vacation, or if I can do this, or like nobody's thinking like
but see,
what's gonna happen at 65, 70? I'm not trying to live in a box.
But to me, if you're dreaming about something that you can make happen with little effort, you're not dreaming big enough. You're not. If you're dreaming about something that you can obtain just by, saving up a few bucks, and sacrificing, not paying Peter and paying Paul, are you dreaming big enough? And so that's why I think, some people who do dream, like you said, but they don't dream big enough.
Well, let me ask you guys both this, because when you're younger, obviously, I feel like that's when you kind of actually do have the most or the biggest dreams. Like you want to do this and you want to do that.
No, that's great.
What age do you think that has stopped? Because I remember when I was younger, I had a lot of dreams. I want to do this, I want to do that. But it seems like there's a certain point where it kind of flips.
The reality is you start paying bills.
I think you allow it to. I think you allow it to by how you see life. because I went through the stage. I went through a stage when I was young, and I had all these grandiose dreams. And for a while, I was like, man, your mom and I were talking about last night. I had a period where it was rough, man. Y'all were young, but it's like, man, I don't have the money I want to have. I want to do this. I want to do this. Man, I don't have time to dream. But reality was, I was wasting time because I wasn't pursuing the dream. I was like a hamster on the wheel, just running round and round because I had no vision of how to get something better. Life had beat me down. My coach used to say this all the time. The thing about life is, life don't wait for you to pull your pants up before it kicks you in the butt. Life don't care. But I think as you get old, I still dream. I'll be 62 this year. I still dream. I still want certain things, not just for me, but for you, for my grandson, Mackenzie. I still dream. And you know what? That's what wakes me up in the morning. That's what allows me not to get complacent and think, man, I've arrived. No. I still dream, man. Call me greedy, whatever you want to call. I want everything I'm supposed to have before I leave here. But if you don't dream about it, you never get it. If Chris just kept talking about, I want to be a writer, I want to be a writer, and he writes stuff and he put it in the shoebox, you never get to where you are now. The dream is what says, I'm going to take this and not put it in the shoebox. I'm going to submit this. And if I get rejected, I'm going to keep submitting because it's like I was growing up. And there's this kid, we both started playing ball around the same time. And I forget the first league we was playing in, and he was like, man, I just want to score 2 points. What about you? Man, I'm going to score 22 points. I ain't going out here and score no 2 points. 2 points is nothing. But that was his goal. He just wanted to score.
I mean, but to your point about the dream, and we're writing, like, under the consumer that he can't do, it's like, I see an end game, like the end goal, like what I'm going to be within that investment at some point. But then I'm also, in between, I know that it's going to take countless hours of writing and rewriting, and some people saying that they don't like it, some people saying that they love, like it's going to be those peaks and valleys and ups and downs. But then at the end of the day, I still know, like, long term, what that dream is and what it's going to take to get there. I don't feel like that's a thing for a lot of people today. It's like very easy for people to kind of get knocked off of obtaining or chasing a dream.
Dad gonna give you some free advice now. Because you're so much like me, or all you are. There is no end game. You every time you set an end game, you want to move it. Every time you want to keep raising the bar because that's how it is. You sit and you say, okay, I know I wanted to move out here in the suburbs, man, get my kids, get them in a good thing and get a good job, I'll be all right. Then I got out here, man, then the entrepreneur bug started hitting me, man. I'm like, nah, man, I can do more. So I raised the bar again. Then I accomplished them goals. Man, you know what? No, man, I can do this and turn this into that. And I want to get there. I was talking to Mom again. We were talking about this last night. I'm better off now than I've ever been at a point in my life. But that's not enough. I'm moving the bar again. And because that's what successful people do. Successful people don't sit around and say, oh, man, I reached all my goals, man. So that's it. No, successful people say, you know what? I scored 20 points. Now I want to score 30. I want to feel like it is to score 30. I want to know what it is to score 40. Successful people consistently raise the bar for themselves. And that's the difference between your American dream being obtainable and it's not. Because if you set a goal, you reach the goal and that's it. That's like dying. That's like having nothing to live for.
That was actually here. My question is, do you think that the American dream is for everybody? Not everybody.
It is, but it's different. It is, but it's different. Everybody should have a dream. Now, everybody's dream does not have to be to live in a single house. Some people could say, I want to get a condo. Some people could say, I want to, and I'm okay with that. So your dream does not have to be the same. But people without a dream are more often than not hopeless. Hopeless people do crazy things because they have nothing to lose. That's why the violence is up. Don't folk ain't dreaming about nothing, man. They all in them take what you have. Parents are not sitting down, and I said it before, and I said it in the call, the MOK thing. Parents are not having those conversations like, what are you dreaming about? What do you want to be? How are you going to get there? My father had the conversation with me. I had it with you. What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? Okay, this is my kind of money you got to make to have that lifestyle. You got kids thinking they can go to Walmart and buy Beamers and put 22s on it, have Gucci, and it don't work like that. No, but if you don't know, if nobody's teaching you to dream and nobody's teaching that your dream has to have some reality to it.
I think that's what I was expecting to say. It's like that. Your dream
how do you find the balance? You know,
You to me, you find the balance by like for instance, perfect example. If you married, you know, your dream shouldn't be to find somebody else to get remarried. I mean, seriously, why you married? That shouldn't be your dream. You know, or if you got a job, right, and you barely making enough to pay for, a Taurus. You're not changing jobs. You know, you're not improving your economic situation. You know, your dream can't be to get a Tesla. You know what I mean? You got to have a balance in there. It has to line up. You can't just, because that's now making a wish. Because
that's a good point. I was about to say, like, it's
that's interesting.
People making a wish and people actually dreaming.
Because when I wish, man, I wish. I'm just hoping I get it. When I dream, I'm actively pursuing it. You know, when I wish, I get it, I don't, I don't. When I dream, I'm gonna make this happen. You know, it's just like, and I can point to something in all your lives when you made a decision, like, you know what, I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make this happen. You didn't just come to me, well, I wish. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. This is what I want to do. Or you will call me up and ask me, how do I do this? This is what I'm trying to accomplish. How do I do this? If I'm wishing, I'm not asking anybody. You gotta, something inside you has to say you want more than you have. Something inside you has to create a passion, a burning desire to be successful. And success is different by all means, but you got to have some kind of goal. You have to want more than nothing. That's what I got a problem with. Or you want to marry somebody that has something and you bringing nothing to the table. You just want to go along for the ride. That's not to me, that's not a healthy dream.
It's a great segue, because I was going to ask, like, how important do you think it is, like, having the proper people around you in terms of accomplishing and chasing these dreams? Because, like, sometimes, you may have people in your life, friends, family, that they may be the ones sometimes that are kind of keeping you complacent or keeping you in check, not letting you do. I think you think that's like unrealistic.
I think that is super important, because you have to have like-minded people that's gonna, oh, this is your dream. How can I help you get there?
Are you asking me for how important is it to me, or I think in general?
Both.
Man, okay, for me, how important is breathing and eating to you? It's essential. Yeah, because this is what's going to happen. And you guys are finding this out, or you have found it out. That's why your circle of friends change. That's why your inner circle change, because you have to be around people who are trying to go, you're going to bend where you're trying to get to. If not, you feel empty. You feel a void. Because you got this drive, you got this determination, man, and you're hanging around a bunch of people who all they do is tell you what you can't do.
I feel like I went through that, especially early on.
Yeah.
It's like pushing Justin, my best friend, like, homie, we had that same vision, but I had another group of friends before where it was like extremely hard to talk about things, because it's like, what are you talking about? It was like the lack of motivation behind it. It was like almost waiting for me to finish the conversation so we could just talk about something else. And it's kind of demoralizing in a way. It's like,
how did that make you feel? See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the part that I'm talking about, man. That right there, it weighs on you, man. It like sucks the life out of you.
It does. It really does. It's like,
I feel like it makes it easier for people to quit too. Like, oh, if my homie's not believing in me, can I really do this?
Man, I don't have a lot of friends because of it. I know a ton of people, but I don't have a lot of friends because of that. Because first of all, I'm too old to be dragging somebody behind me now. I can't. I don't have the strength for that now. Second of all, you can't make people do anything. You can't change people into what you want them to be. People have to consciously want to change, because what happens is if you give somebody a dream and you want the dream, you do all the work for the dream, they're going to quit because it's not their dream. And then the first time you bring it to their attention, what are they going to say to you? Well, that wasn't my dream to begin with. That was yours. That's why it's important. Relationships are hard enough. with all the stuff going on, that you at the end of the day, when you have one of them tough days, man, and your dream is kicking your butt because it's not working out, you don't need to go home to somebody and say quit, or why are you doing all that? You don't need. You need to go home to somebody and say, you know what? Even if I don't understand, I understand you. Even if I don't see what you see, I have enough faith in you. I love you enough to support you as we pursue this. That's what you need. Not somebody saying, well, we could be doing something else. Hey, while we trying to figure this out, we might as well go out to Chris Roof's Steakhouse. We got all this money sitting there. So I mean, you have to look at things like that. That's why I love Walt Disney. Y'all know how excited I get. Dude bought that land $0.25 on the dollar. $0.25 on the dollar, he bought Smart Land. And everybody was laughing at him. It's a whole independent city now.
Yeah.
So think about that. He started Disney because, many people don't know the story. He was broke and he wanted to take his daughter to an amusement park. And he had drew his mouse, it had it, and he goes to take, and his daughter's too small to get on any of the rides. So his old thing, I'm gonna design my own. And he kind of touched up Mickey. He got Mickey, and Walt Disney kind of built off of Mickey Mouse. The rest is history. So because he had a dream, and he put not just say, okay, I got a wish, I got a dream, so I'm going to make this dream. And he had the same components. Like I said, his dream wasn't just about himself; it was generational. He wanted not just his daughter, but people in his daughter's age. He wanted to build a place that was magical for everybody. At the same time, he was investing in himself. So you see, that formula, man, doesn't fail. We fail. And to me, I don't want to be around somebody, man, who if I say, and whenever we together, we always have these conversations. Some kind of way, we get on these conversations, man. Because that's how we're built. That's how I'm wired. I'm not wired to be comfortable coming in second. I don't care how big the trophy was. I'm not wired to be complacent. I'm not wired to just sit back and say, well, that's my lot in life. I'm wired because I want to maximize every possibility, every potential I could have. When I die, I want everything to be used up. I don't want to take anything to the grave. And I think, that's how I'm built, which is why I don't have a lot of people around me, because people don't understand. I've had people told me I was greedy. I'm not greedy. I just want what's mine. Greedy would means I want what's yours, and I don't. Because I don't. Because what's supposed to be for you is not always for me. You know what I mean? And I think that people have to kind of figure out, man, and labels have destroyed more American dreams because people don't want to be labeled. Chris doesn't want to be known as arrogant. So all of a sudden he becomes real submissive, laid back. I'm not going to be aggressive chasing my dreams because I care what people want to say about me. You know what? Devin don't want to be overbearing. So all of a sudden he starts taking a backseat. He's not really saying what he wants to do. He's kind of fit in. Man, guess what? I can care less what you think about me. Because at the end of the day, you don't put food in my refrigerator, you don't sign my paycheck, and you don't contribute to my company. So what else is there? You don't get a vote.
And I almost think that's kind of like similar to the point that I made earlier about us kind of keeping each other in check, like letting each other. I'm like, why are you doing that? You're not supposed to do that. It's like almost, I don't know, and even some people that crabs in the barrel mentality. And I do feel like another, it's just, I don't know, that like remnants from slavery days almost, you think? Because it's always been like that. Even when you go historically, like,
I want to say yes. I want to say yes, but then most people don't even know their history, man. So it's kind of like, okay, I want to say yes. But in the same token, like, man, these people don't know their history past grandmom and grandpa. Do I think it's passed down? Yeah, I do think it becomes generational. And it takes courage to break the cycle and be different, and we don't have a lot of that. We talked about that on the previous show, how, we raised a generation of followers. This group I work with in Norristown, these young men,
more sheep out there than anything else. Like, they don't even realize that they followers. They're just out here going with
But that's the norm.
You're told.
Because that's their norm, Chris. That becomes the norm and it becomes generational. You know, my father did it, so now I'm doing it. You know, all the friends I know, they do it, so I'm going to do it. You know, how many people say I'm going to break the cycle? How many people say I'm going to be different? You know, and maybe because the sports part in me, you know, but I've always been competitive. You know, always, not to the extent where I was jealous, but I don't want people to outdo me. You know, I
It's
don't.
always feel like I can win. I always got a chance.
But that's how you gotta live your life. But that's how you play the game of life, man. You don't play the tie. You don't play for mediocrity. You don't play to just get by. Yeah, man. I remember the first time I said to my dad I was chilling. He said, "Let me tell you something, son. Chilling means you're in a frozen state going nowhere."
What? I say I'm chilling.
He said that means you're in the frozen. So you know what? I couldn't say that in my house.
I mean, that's just the power of the tongue type thing to athletes as well. Like changing how we talk.
Oh, you can talk it. You can talk. You know, you can talk yourself into stuff all the time. Man. If you say something enough, yeah, you know, and you know, now I get to have my Bible moment. And the Bible talks about that, man. The power of life and death is in the tongue. You know, when you say stuff, you can talk yourself into stuff, man. If you say, for instance, if you ever not be tired, but you just say you're tired, you say enough, then you get tired because you convince yourself that. You know, you can eat a 4-course meal, and then you all of a sudden you're not really hungry, but you say because you say it. You know, I mean, so you when you hear stuff, it has an impact. That's why advertisement. Why do you think they play certain kind of music for marketing? You know, because they know the kind of person they're trying to attract.
Because you're in a certain mood.
When you get on the elevator, they don't want you jumping down the elevator, so they play elevator music. Cool music that nobody wants to dance to. When you go into Macy's, you ain't gonna hear JC and Macy's and anybody. No, you hear little Marvin Gaye, little stuff because they want you to dance a little bit, but they don't want you jumping around. You go into a sneaker store, though, whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
So even advertising knows, you know, how to steer you and direct you through the so-called American dream. You know, it's like everybody bought, you know, I want to be like Mike. Man, no $120 team is gonna make you play any better than you can play. If you can play, you can play again. People bought Nike. I want to be like Mike.
That's actually another kind of interesting thing.
Yeah, that's wild.
I guess the advertisement part, like you know, like the media, in a way, you feel like they always kind of dictate to us what the dream is or should be.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like, especially because in our music, it's like, oh, get the car, get the money, chain, and the girl. Like, it's never really about building anything. Like, it's definitely, like, that just made me think about that. Like, the music is a certain.
Because they don't make money if you're one and done. If you buy one car and keep it for 20 years, nobody making no money off of that. You know, if you're not buying new clothes all the time, nobody's making money off of that. So yeah, the media definitely plays a huge role. Advertising plays a huge role. But I think the problem with it is parents are no longer playing that role. Parents are no longer sitting down with their kids and talking about sustainable success. You know, they're not talking about, you know, dream and put the work in now for your dreams so you can enjoy your dream later. They talking about go for it now. You know, how many people play the lottery and pay $50 a week and they've been doing it for 30 years? If you took that $50 a week and invested, you'd be a millionaire.
Right, like, man.
But that's the shortcut. That's when you don't have a dream. That's a wish. I want to hit the lottery. You know, or how many people hit the lottery and they're broke because they don't have a well thought out dream. So now all of a sudden, when it comes true, I don't know. I got $1 million and I'm going to buy 10 cars. You can only drive one car.
Now, do y'all think we need more adults or parents that, like, you know, ask a kid, all right, what's your dream?
Oh,
and how can I help you get there?
Of course. Not just adult. I mean, not just parents, but you know, school should be doing vision boards with these kids, man. School should be talking about, you know, don't tell the kid the probability of you being poor and the probability of you going to jail. That's not what the kid did.
Yeah. Oh.
That's not educating anybody. It's like you're predicting doom.
Are they really telling kids that now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know, or, you know, like the guys tell me all the time, school is teaching me how to pass a standardized test. The problem with it is, They don't give me a standardized test when I get out of here.
And
I'm not. Yeah.
That's the main thing. Like growing up, you used to hear, you got good up, you got to maybe test 22, 25. Like they really like instill that in us, like in our community as well. Like that.
These are high school.
Like when you ask those kids how old they're going to be, like they think it's 50.
50. So when I told them how old I was, they was like, yeah, get out of here, man. Then somebody said, well, it's good that you're in your right mind. Who's not in their right mind at 60? God. But they don't fathom living that long. I was talking to a good friend of mine, and I've had a similar story where we both run into somebody that we hadn't seen. Like I've run into a kid from high school, and he said, look, man, I'm doing all right, but I'm not doing well. Well, I'm kind of lost. I said, what do you mean? Because you know what? I'm 30-something years old, and I never thought I was going to live past 25. So I didn't have no plans. Somebody said that they had a relative say the same thing to them. I don't know what to do because I thought I was going to die at 18, and here I am 20. So that's the problem when you don't dream, man. Like for me, for a high school kid to put down 45 is my life expectancy, you almost halfway there.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like again, it made me think about like what you just said about like they really be telling us these stats like at a young age.
The probability.
They're talking about the prison, the pipeline, and you're not reading, you're doing this, you're not doing this. Like you're going to one in 4 you like they really do that. So it's like they almost kind of telling you like, hey, you don't have a chance.
Well, we got 4 minutes to close up, so you two guys can close out, man.
This is definitely another great show. I actually really had a question, like y'all said about the statistics. Why don't they post the positive statistics? The things that make you want to keep dreaming.
That would mean that would mean I have to see you in a positive light. That would mean that I would have to recognize that there's some positive characteristics about you. That would also mean, especially if you are one of those people who don't look like us and you're fearful that people like us are gaining wealth, are gaining knowledge, are gaining momentum and are overtaking you. Of course, you're gonna try to cut it off any way you can. It's like a person in an abusive relationship. They'll continuously, mentally abuse the other person to devalue them, to make them think that person is the only person that really cares about them. And what happens is that person all of a sudden now is just fulfilling the prophecy.
Like a form of control.
Yeah, it is a form of control. And I think, and it's on purpose, because it doesn't take a genius to figure out what our kids are lacking in school, and put it into school. I think it's purposely being left out. And we always say, we'll find one school with kids of a different color that is not happening. Well, that's not. The numbers clearly show, that people who look like us are undereducated, they're underserved, and they're definitely underappreciated.
Yeah. Man. I feel like this again kind of reiterating what Devin said. This is a great episode. Like just discussing the American dream. I feel like it can mean so many different things to different people, but at the end of the day, like if you got a dream, it's real. If you want to do it, then like dig in and go chase it and get it. It's not going to be smooth sailing. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be some ups and downs, but it's no reason for you not to go chase it and get it. Like it's funny because I feel like I've had this conversation with people before, and like for us as black men, like we know that maybe life is going to be hard for us. That's just what it is. Like I don't expect it to be anything less than hard. So for anyone else out there, like you got a dream, go chase it, go get it. Don't let anybody stop it. Don't feel like you don't belong anywhere. Like there's nowhere on this planet you're not supposed to be.
And find like-minded people to help you pursue this dream or keep you motivated in this dream.
Yeah, I agree.
Got the last minute.
Yeah, Dad, you got the last minute.
I don't know if that's enough time for you.
To me, I just think, and again, and I'll say it again, if you're dreaming, and your dream is something that you can obtain on your own without putting the work in, not doing the things you need to do, you're not dreaming big enough. And I think that's the problem. Most of us, we're not dreaming big enough. And I think that's why the American dream seems like it's unattainable, and it is unattainable for some people because they can't see it. They don't see themselves as being successful. And they don't want to put the work in. They don't want to do. We talked about it before the show as we close. It takes work and sacrifice. To be successful in anything. And if you're not willing to give, and you definitely not gonna take it.
Yeah.
But
let's get some great takers out here, man. Make sure y'all like,
you think, man?
Like, follow, subscribe, share. Above Average Black Men. That's A2BM. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Podbean. We're going to be on
Spotify, iHeartRadio.
We got them all covered. So support us, join us.
As soon as I learn how to use my Apple phone, we'll be on Apple Radio.
One day at a time, I like that.
But again, another episode of Above Average Black Men. Guys, have a great life. Talk to you later. Turn it off.
I know what's up. On your screen, so my whole thing.
Roxy goes in here.